Hello everybody, Mark at 100% Pure Elvis. It's really good to see you all back, returning to my channel. Again, I hope this all finds you well, and to all of the new subscribers who have joined the 100% Pure Elvis channel recently, look, thank you all so much for joining the channel, and I really hope you enjoy it. The upload that I want to share with you all today is a great Elvis album that was issued in 1962. The album in question is Pot Luck With Elvis. Now, I have two different copies of Pot Luck With Elvis, but I've got three vinyls, and I will give you the reasons why in a moment. Now, Pot Luck With Elvis, let's get on to them numbers, if you don't mind. Pot Luck With Elvis was issued worldwide on May 18th, 1962. Now, let's get on to the sales around the world. So, in the United States of America, Pot Luck With Elvis has sold in excess of 450,000 copies. In Europe, it has sold in excess of 300,000 copies, and worldwide in excess of 870,000 copies. I think the first thing that surprised me with them numbers are an Elvis album from the early 1960s. I think it could have sold better quantities, but let's look at why it might not have sold more. We are at that time in Elvis Presley's career. Sorry, while I just take a drink. In that point in Elvis Presley's career, obviously he was in the early 60s stage of his soundtrack albums and movies, and the soundtrack albums were outstripping other albums that he released that were not movie soundtrack albums, and I would imagine that was quite frustrating for Elvis and for the record label RCA. But obviously when you look at that, RCA was winning on both sides, weren't they? So his soundtrack albums of that time were selling in great numbers, and when you look at the non-soundtrack albums from Elvis around that time, they weren't selling in the massive quantities as expected. But again, let's get on to the copies that I have in my collection. Now, the first two copies that I'm going to share with you are exactly the same, and I'm going to talk about why I've got two copies, and you will see why. I'm quite shocked at the valuation of the first two copies, because again, it's a first issue from the United Kingdom. So this is the copy I have had longest in my collection of Pot Luck With Elvis. The image there, now can anyone help me here? Is the movie image here, is that from Follow That Dream or Kid Galahad? I can't remember. I think it's more Follow That Dream. Now, let's talk about that front cover. You know, could it be any better? I suppose so, but again, you know, for me, you know, Elvis takes up half of the front, well, more than half the front cover, and you got the pot here with the gold, whatever, coming out, and you know, normally this album, you know, when you type it in, it's just Pot Luck, but I always call it Pot Luck With Elvis. And then you got I love the RCA Victor symbol here at the bottom, and you got your track listing here, and on the reverse, again, showcasing other Elvis albums that were available at the time. Now you have the Follow That Dream EP, His Hand in Mine, Blue Hawaii, GI Blues, Something for Everybody, Elvis Is Back. And again, I will read this here, and it's, oh no, so no way, because that's the track listing for each of these albums. That'll take me far too long. But again, you can see discoloration on the back of here, and as you can see, discoloration around the sides. It's in a mono. Here you go, mono. So it's the first pressing, catalogue number RD27265. RD27265. Now, you will see why I did purchase a second copy. This copy here, I see it's been all ripped, and I've got a massive chunk right out of the cover. Now, I always say on my channel, I am really careful with how I handle my records. Unfortunately, on the move that me and my husband did nearly 2 years ago, this was damaged by myself accidentally, and I was so annoyed that I took a big chunk out of the front cover. So again, I had to find myself a second copy, and it took me quite a while, actually, if I'm quite honest with you, because I just thought, okay, let me keep this in my collection, and when I come across another copy that's in better condition, I'll purchase it if it's at the right price. So believe it or not, this copy, the first pressing from the United Kingdom, that catalogue number RD27265, it has a low valuation of only £5. I was really shocked at that, with it being the first pressing, even with the condition that it's in, because when I look on Discogs, I would say this is in poor condition as a cover. The vinyl inside, which I will share with you in a moment, is in very good condition. But if I was a buyer wanting to purchase this, if I saw this for £5, I'd be thinking, what a bargain. But it only has a higher price of £15. Again, I was quite shocked. What do you think of that price range? Do you think it is worth more money? Again, when I talk about Elvis records and valuation, people will only pay what they're willing to pay, won't they? So when I look for an Elvis album, or any album in particular, for me, I always go on, what is my price range of what I'd be willing to pay for that album? You could go to a seller who's looking for £40, and you might say, personally, I don't think it's worth £40. I'm gauging on £20, and it's that meeting in the middle, really. So when I do go and I'm looking at Elvis albums, sometimes I'm not even looking, I'm just going out to charity shops, let's say record shops, etc., and I will look at the Elvis section and in the second-hand section. If I come across an Elvis album that I feel is a good price or a bit too expensive, I will try my best to haggle. But this is why I've got a second copy. Let me share with you the vinyl inside, and you will see why. Again, it's in good condition. It's got its original sleeve here, and it's that black and silver RCA label. There you go. And it's in gorgeous condition. I have had this in my collection, quite a number of years. I have played this quite a lot, but again, no imperfections whatsoever. So again, you're just looking at the cover, really, aren't you, in respect to where the damage is. And there is slight discoloration in the cover. I don't think you can probably see it that well here, but there's slight discoloration down the side, and there's an air bubble here. So again, I'm really wanted to get another copy of Pot Luck With Elvis into my collection. So that's the first copy of Pot Luck With Elvis. Second copy, as I was saying, is exactly the same, but this is the most recent one that I purchased, and this is the same copy. There's no imperfections whatsoever on the cover. It's in beautiful condition, and I do remember that. This is why I'm saying about the price range of £5 to £15. This copy that I have here, to me, is virtually immaculate. I went to a record fair in Royal Leamington Spa months ago now, maybe last year, and again, I paid £20 for this copy. So for me, again, I was quite happy to pay that price, if I'm quite honest with you. And on the back, again, it's exactly the same. RD27265, and you will see inside it's the same labeling. There we go, and on there we go, that's the flip side. So again, really happy to eventually find a second copy of Pot Luck With Elvis. But again, the guide price on this Discogs is £5 to £15. I do disagree with that price range. I think it is worth more money. The last copy is from the United States of America, AFL12523. Now, I'm trying to... Yeah, you will see this is it. This is in stereo, not mono. So this is a reissue from 1977. Again, it's that strong cardboard style cover. On the back, it is so different from the previous two that I showcased. Again, but you've got GI Blues, Something for Everybody, Blue Hawaii, His Hand in Mine, and here you've got the Follow That Dream EP, and here we've got the track listing. Again, the catalogue number AFL12533. This has a valuation of £20 to £50. Again, I paid £30 for this copy, and this was at Vinyl Destination in Coventry Market. But again, a 1977 reissue from the United States of America of Pot Luck with Elvis. I absolutely love. Oh, sorry, I forgot to shut. There's a catalogue number here. There you see. And on the back, let me get closer up there. Pot Luck, and as you can see, the stereo with the cat. There you go. It's all information. I love the vinyl inside of this one. It's that, there you go. You always can tell it's a reissue when it's got the sleeve inside with then multiple Elvis Presley albums, front to back. Inside, it's the black RCA Victor label here. Again, in great condition. Let me flip that over. There you go. Actually so happy with the nip of the dog on the RCA Victor black cover there. But again, the 1977 reissue of Pot Luck with Elvis, a price guide of £20 to £50, and I'm gauging mine is worth around £40. Now let's go to that track listing on Pot Luck with Elvis. So we have on side one, Kiss Me Quick, just for old time's sake. Gonna get back home somehow. Such an easy question, stepping out of line, I'm yours. Side two, Something Blue, Suspicion, I Feel That I've Known You Forever, Night Rider, Fountain of Love, That's Someone You Never Forget. Now, let me talk about favourites. It is such, I really, really love Pot Luck with Elvis, but if I had to choose, I absolutely adore Suspicion, Kiss Me Quick, Something Blue, Fountain of Love, but there are no weak tracks on this album. But do you know, when you look at Elvis album rankings in respect of studio albums, etc., this really doesn't get the merit that I think it deserves. I think this deserves to be welcomed more with the Elvis fans. But again, at the time it was issued, the quantities that it sold around the world, it has sold in excess of 870,000 copies. His soundtrack albums at that time were doubling them sales, sometimes tripling them sales. So again, RCA had, with the soundtrack album selling them sort of quantities, but then you go to his like studio albums or albums like this where the songs are hashed together, sold lesser quantities. But again, nevertheless, a great album that I thoroughly enjoy. Now again, let's get back to their numbers before I close out this upload. We have Pot Luck with Elvis. It was issued worldwide on May 18th of 1962. In the United States of America, sold in excess of 450,000 copies. In Europe, in excess of 300,000 copies. Worldwide, in excess of 800,000 copies. I have two copies with the catalogue number RD27265. UK, valuation, a low guide price of £5, a higher guide price of £15. I've said it before, I do disagree with that valuation, but it's the original 1962 release. And then we have the issue from the United States of America with the catalogue number of AFL12523, a 1977 reissue. The valuation, a guide price of £20 to £50, which I'm more happier with. So again, thank you all for taking the time out to return to my channel today. It's most appreciated. As always, please keep Elvis close to your hearts. Please keep on playing his music. Lots of love, everybody. And do not forget, follow me over on TikTok, 100 Pure Elvis. See you all there. Bye-bye.